If we're creating a problem that requires multiple algorithmically generated variables, a convenient thing to do is to generate those at once. So for instance, we could create three variables, A1, A2, and A3. And we could create those three random variables by using the command rands, give our minimum and maximum values. And then after an additional comma, we would input a value for n, the number of random numbers that we want to create. So this statement is going to create three random integers between -10 and 10. If we wanted to create three random real numbers, we would just add that r in front so that we're creating real rands. And we'd include that minimum, maximum, the step, so we could go with 0.25 here, and then indicate that we're creating three different random real numbers between those bounds with that step value. For either of these, we could include the command non-zero to, again, avoid selecting 0 as our random number. We can also use this rands command, rands, for selecting values from a string. So if we created three variables, C1, C2, and C3, we could use the command rands from. So now we're selecting more than one random value from a list that we create, whether that was a numbered list or a text list. Either way, we would include that list in a set of quotation marks, and then after a comma, we would indicate how many variables we're creating, how many values we need to select from that list. For any of these commands, or any of these variables that we're generating, we may want all of those values to be distinct. In that case, we can add the command diff, D-I-F-F, in front of that rands command. In this case, now we would be generating those three values on each line with those parameters, but we would know that variables A1, A2, and A3 would all be distinct values. Same with C1, C2, C3. We would end up with three different colors selected for our problem. We can combine that diffrands command with the non-zero command. So if we still want our variables A1 through A3 and B1 through B3 to not be equal to 0, we could drop non-zero in front of that diffrands command. So now we're generating, in each case, three distinct values within those parameters, none of them equal to 0. The last addition that we could include with this, and it would work with any of the variations of this rands command, would be adding the statement comma inc to the end in a set of single quotations, or we could add in a set of single quotes dec. What this would do would now add an additional step to the creation of our randomized values. In the first line, our values for A, we would know that A1 would be smaller than A2, would be smaller than A3, because it's going to select those random variables in an increasing pattern. B1, B2, and B3 would all be decreasing values, so B1 would be larger than B2, which would be larger than B3. This command also works with the diffrands command if we have a list of numbers. So if this is our list of numbers that we're choosing from, I have some duplicates in there, which doesn't really make sense, but I was just typing up a quick list as an example. If we have a list of numbers that we want to pull from, we can still include that inc or decreasing command in that set of single quotes, so that D1, D2, and D3 would have that structured format of each being increasing values or decreasing values as we read that from left to right.